Imagine a world where the very conveniences you've embraced, that effortless swipe of your digital payment, the seamless biometric scan that grants you access, the immediate affirmation of your identity online, are precisely what blind you to the most critical spiritual deception of all time. We're not talking about some far-off futuristic scenario or a literal chip implanted by force in a dystopian wasteland. We're talking about the present, the now, right here in America, where the invisible hand of a global system is already shaping your choices, quietly demanding your allegiance. This is the forbidden reason why countless Christians, earnestly awaiting the Antichrist and the mark of the beast, are unknowingly walking right into its carefully laid trap. You see, the prophecies in Daniel 2 and 7, echoed with startling clarity in Revelation 13, aren't just about empires rising and falling. They describe an insidious protocol of control that has always sought to subjugate humanity's spirit, now reaching its final, most sophisticated iteration. The audacious truth is this: the mark of the beast isn't merely a physical identifier you'll be forced to accept at gunpoint someday. It's a complex, multi-layered system of allegiance, a spiritual and societal integration so pervasive that most will embrace it as progress, even salvation, while the Antichrist himself, not a horned monster from a horror movie, but a charismatic leader promising peace and prosperity, emerges from the very institutions designed to solve our global crises. What you stand to lose by ignoring this isn't just a comfortable life, it's your eternal inheritance, your very soul. The stakes couldn't be higher. Eternal separation versus ultimate freedom and a place in the kingdom. Now, let's call this intricate web of converging systems and subtle deceptions the alignment protocol. It's the unspoken agreement, the silent contract, the digital handshake that binds you to a world system that on its surface promises solutions to poverty, disease, and global conflict. But beneath that veneer lies a demand for absolute conformity, a spiritual ID that supersedes your faith. You might feel the gentle pressure now, the nudge towards a cashless society, the growing digital footprint of your life, the subtle censorship of dissenting voices in your newsfeed. This isn't just technological advancement, it's the meticulous laying of groundwork for what's coming. To truly understand this, we must journey through three crucial layers of deception that compose the alignment protocol. First, we'll peel back the biblical texts, Daniel's visions of beasts and kingdoms, the precise timeline markers in Daniel 9, the chilling details of Revelation 13 and 17, and Paul's warnings in 2 Thessalonians 2 about the man of lawlessness. These aren't abstract stories, they're a blueprint. Then we'll trace the historical echoes, examining how empires throughout time, from ancient Rome to more recent global powers, have mirrored these prophetic patterns, always seeking to consolidate control and demand worship. Finally, we'll expose the chilling convergence in our current age, the geopolitics of global governance, the explosion of surveillance technology and digital finance, the pervasive influence of media and culture shaping our consent. This isn't about wild speculation. It's about connecting the dots, seeing the patterns that have been hiding in plain sight. The question no one wants to ask, the one that gnaws at the edges of our collective consciousness, is this: what precisely is the invisible trap that most Christians are already walking into, believing they are safe while unknowingly aligning with the very system they're meant to resist? How does the alignment protocol, this global framework for compliance, manage to deceive even the elect, making spiritual compromise seem like social responsibility or even humanitarian duty? Hold on to that thought, because by the end of our journey, you won't just have theories, you'll have a clear, actionable understanding. You'll grasp the 5 key harbingers now signaling the Antichrist's imminent unveiling, understand the 4 distinct phases of the beast system's rise, and be able to interpret the crucial windows of time. The prophetic 7 years, the midpoint, the 1260, 1290, and 1335 days, not as abstract numbers, but as a ticking metronome for the unfolding drama. You'll gain a map to navigate the end times, a discerning checklist to recognize the mark in its true form, and a timeline that brings biblical prophecy into sharp, undeniable focus. This isn't about fear. It's about a responsible urgency. It's about moving from a place of passive alarm to one of informed analysis, and ultimately to a posture of courageous, spirit-led action. You will learn to recognize not just the signposts, but the very mechanism of the Antichrist's deception, transforming you from a bewildered spectator into a discerning, prepared warrior of light. The time for blind waiting is over. The time for understanding, for seeing with clarity what has been hidden, is now. But how do you see with clarity what has been deliberately obscured? How do you recognize a trap that feels like progress, a system that masquerades as salvation? The forbidden reason, the one that keeps so many earnest believers from identifying the mark of the beast and the Antichrist, isn't a lack of faith, but a misdirection of focus. We've been taught to look for a singular, dramatic event, a literal, forced implant, while the true mechanism is already at work, subtly weaving itself into the fabric of our daily lives, our economy, and our very identities. It's a quiet infiltration, a gradual conditioning, and it's why understanding the alignment protocol is not just crucial, but urgent. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about fear-mongering or chasing shadows. This is about understanding a blueprint laid out thousands of years ago, a prophetic roadmap that details not just what will happen, but how it will unfold, and critically, why so many will miss it. The problem is that many Christians are looking for a monster with horns when the prophecies describe a charismatic leader promising peace, and a mark that isn't just physical but deeply spiritual, demanding allegiance to a system. This inversion of expectation is the first, most potent layer of deception. We've been led to believe the villain will be obvious, but what if the villain is cloaked in the guise of a benevolent problem solver, emerging from the very institutions designed to fix our global crises? Before we dive into the chilling convergence happening right now, you need to grasp the historical and prophetic foundation. We must journey through three crucial layers of deception that compose the alignment protocol. First, we'll peel back the biblical texts, Daniel's visions of beasts and kingdoms, the precise timeline markers in Daniel 9, the chilling details of Revelation 13 and 17, and Paul's warnings in 2 Thessalonians 2 about the man of lawlessness. These aren't abstract stories. They're a blueprint, a precise architectural drawing of an end-time system. And here's where everything shifts. These ancient texts aren't just predicting future events. They're revealing an ancient, recurring protocol of control that has always sought to subjugate humanity's spirit. And this protocol, this insidious pattern, is now reaching its final, most sophisticated iteration. What you're about to discover isn't just academic. It's a matter of eternal consequence. Hold on to this. The biblical texts provide the very language we need to decode the present. They don't just speak of a future beast. They describe a spirit that has been at work shaping empires and human hearts for millennia. So, what exactly do these ancient scrolls tell us about the hidden nature of this final deception, and how does it manifest in the world we inhabit today? We're about to connect those dots, and what you'll see will change everything. And what you're about to see isn't just academic theory or some dusty historical footnote. It's a matter of eternal consequence, a stark choice looming over every soul. For too long, we've treated these prophecies like distant fairy tales, confined to Sunday school lessons or late-night talk shows, detached from the gritty reality of our daily lives. But hold on to this truth. The biblical texts aren't merely ancient narratives. They provide the very language we need to decode the present, to understand the spiritual battle raging in the digital town squares and the quiet corners of our own hearts. They don't just speak of a future beast. They describe an insidious spirit that has been at work, shaping empires and human hearts for millennia. A relentless force, twisting allegiance and demanding worship. So, what exactly do these ancient scrolls tell us about the hidden nature of this final deception? And how does it manifest in the world we inhabit today? from the bustling streets of New York City to the quiet suburbs of the Midwest. We're about to connect those dots, and what you'll see will change everything. Because the true danger isn't a literal monster rising from the sea, but a subtle, systematic erosion of freedom, a spiritual surrender masked as societal progress. This isn't some abstract theological debate. It's an urgent call to awareness, a moment to recognize the invisible hand guiding the very conveniences you embrace. Now, consider this. The prophecies in Daniel 2 and 7, echoed with startling clarity in Revelation 13, aren't just about empires rising and falling. They describe an insidious protocol of control, a master plan that has always sought to subjugate humanity's spirit. From the Roman Empire demanding loyalty to Caesar, to the totalitarian regimes of the 20th century demanding absolute state allegiance, we've seen the dress rehearsals. But this protocol is now reaching its final, most sophisticated iteration, transforming from overt oppression into a seductive, almost irresistible invitation. It's what we call the alignment protocol, a global framework for compliance that promises utopia while demanding your soul. You might not see it yet, but it's already here, shaping your choices, demanding your allegiance, and subtly preparing the ground for a charismatic leader who will emerge from the very institutions designed to solve our global crises. And here's the kicker. The very methods you use to navigate modern life might be blinding you to its true nature. What if the path to the mark isn't through coercion, but through consent? What if the path to the mark isn't through coercion, but through consent? Think about your everyday life here in America. The quick tap of your phone for groceries at the supermarket, the effortless biometric scan at the airport, the seamless digital payment for your morning coffee. These aren't just conveniences. They are subtle, almost invisible contracts you sign daily, agreeing to a system that tracks, verifies, and ultimately controls. You embrace them because they make life easier, faster, more efficient. But this isn't just about convenience, it's about control, and it's far more insidious than you might imagine. We've become a society that values ease above almost all else, often without pausing to consider the hidden cost of that comfort. The problem is that this relentless pursuit of convenience has carved out a chasm between our perception of freedom and the creeping reality of compliance. It's a quiet seduction, not a roaring demand. You see, the systems we rely on, from banking to healthcare, from social media to civic engagement, are increasingly intertwined, creating a web of interconnectedness that makes dissent or non-participation feel not just difficult, but impossible. Imagine trying to navigate modern life without a digital footprint, without a smartphone, without ever using online services. The thought itself conjures a sense of isolation, a fear of being left behind, unable to buy, sell, or even interact fully. That feeling, that subtle pressure to conform, that's the silent hum of the alignment protocol at work. It promises to solve the chaos of a fragmented world, to bring order and equity, but at what price to your individual sovereignty, to your very soul? Now, before we dive deeper into the chilling convergence of prophecy and current events, you need to grasp this foundational truth. The architects of this protocol aren't some shadowy, cartoonish villains. They are often brilliant minds, driven by what they genuinely believe are solutions to humanity's most pressing problems: climate change, global poverty, pandemics, conflict. They see a world in desperate need of unification, a coordinated effort, and they are building the infrastructure for it. But history teaches us that even the noblest intentions can pave the way for unforeseen tyranny. Remember the early days of Social Security numbers, introduced as a simple way to track earnings for retirement benefits. Few could have predicted how deeply ingrained they would become, transforming into a de facto national ID, a single point of failure for identity theft, a key to unlock vast personal data. That's a small-scale dress rehearsal for the grander design we're facing now. So what if the very institutions designed to bring us together, to secure our future, are simultaneously preparing the stage for the ultimate deception. What if the path to the mark isn't a singular, dramatic event, but a gradual, almost imperceptible shift in allegiance, a slow surrender of your spiritual autonomy in exchange for societal acceptance and material security? This is where the ancient prophecies begin to collide with our hypermodern reality, painting a picture not of forced subjugation, but of willing integration. And here everything turns. And here everything turns. This isn't about some overt, dramatic confrontation with a horned beast in a post-apocalyptic desert. No, the true danger lies in something far more insidious, woven into the very fabric of our modern lives, a system so sophisticated it redefines allegiance without ever demanding a direct oath. We call this the alignment protocol. It's the invisible hand, the subtle current that pulls you, often without your conscious consent, towards a global framework promising peace, prosperity, and order, but demanding your spiritual identity in return. Think of it as a societal operating system, constantly updating, constantly integrating, making compliance not just convenient, but seemingly necessary for participation in the world around you. The problem is most Christians are looking for a literal, crude mark, a visible tattoo or a microchip forced upon them, a scenario ripped from a Hollywood thriller. But the prophecies, when truly understood, describe a far more elegant and deceptive mechanism. Nobody tells you that the greatest deception often comes cloaked in the guise of salvation, offering solutions to the very problems it helps create. Consider the daily conveniences we now take for granted. Seamless digital payments, biometric scans for access, the pervasive online identity that defines your presence. Each one a tiny thread, weaving a larger tapestry of control, making dissent not just difficult, but practically impossible. This isn't just technological advancement, it's the meticulous laying of groundwork for what's coming. To truly grasp the gravity of this, we must journey through three crucial layers of deception that compose the alignment protocol. The first, the bedrock, lies hidden in plain sight within the ancient texts themselves. We're talking about Daniel's visions of beasts and kingdoms, not as historical curiosities, but as a chilling blueprint for the future. You see the rise and fall of empires, each mirroring a pattern of consolidating power, demanding ultimate loyalty. These aren't just abstract stories. They're a precise, prophetic roadmap, detailing an insidious protocol of control that has always sought to subjugate humanity's spirit. The pain isn't just future suffering, it's the quiet erosion of spiritual autonomy happening right now. The slow surrender of your ability to say no, because yes is so much easier. What if the very things we've been taught to look for, the overt signs, are precisely what blinds us to the subtle, almost imperceptible shifts that are already cementing the foundation of this ultimate deception? The biblical texts provide the framework, but the genius of the alignment protocol lies in its ability to adapt, to evolve, making the ancient warnings feel incredibly fresh and alarmingly relevant to our American landscape today. Before we dive into the precise timeline markers in Daniel 9, or the chilling details of Revelation 13 and 17, or even Paul's stark warnings in 2 Thessalonians 2 about the man of lawlessness, hold on to this. Understanding the divine blueprint correctly is your only defense against this first layer of deception. Understanding the divine blueprint correctly is your only defense against this first layer of deception. Now, when Paul wrote of the man of lawlessness in 2 Thessalonians, he wasn't just describing a future political strongman or a tyrannical dictator. He was unveiling a spiritual condition, an encroaching tide that would pave the way for such a figure. Think about it. Lawlessness isn't merely the absence of rules, it's the subtle, insidious erosion of the very foundation of truth, the quiet redefinition of right and wrong until they become indistinguishable. It's a societal drift, almost imperceptible, where established norms are not just challenged, but systematically dismantled, often in the name of progress or enlightenment. You feel it, don't you? That gnawing sense of confusion when headlines clash, when yesterday's common sense is today's bigotry, when the very institutions meant to uphold order seem to be fracturing from within. We see it in our public discourse, in our schools, even in the sometimes tense conversations around our Thanksgiving tables. This isn't just political division. It's the fruit of a deeper lawlessness, a deliberate blurring of moral lines that leaves many American families feeling unmoored, searching for solid ground that seems to shift beneath their feet. The forbidden truth here is that many Christians are looking for lawlessness to manifest as overt anarchy, as burning cities and declared martial law, a clear-cut villain. But the alignment protocol operates far more subtly. It proposes a new order, a new set of laws that seem reasonable, even compassionate on the surface. It's the inversion of culpability, the very systems we trust to bring stability. From global economic platforms to social justice movements, are unknowingly becoming conduits for this profound spiritual lawlessness, conditioning us to accept a reality where divine truth is optional or even detrimental. Consider the data. Recent polls reveal a significant decline in adherence to traditional moral frameworks across generations, showing a steady drift from absolute truths. This isn't just opinion, it's a measurable shift. We see it exemplified in the rapid acceptance of once unthinkable societal standards, often pushed through pervasive media narratives, much like a Silicon Valley tech giant subtly nudges user behavior through interface design. Then, observe how swiftly dissenting voices are marginalized or even canceled online, not by force of law, but by the silent, collective pressure of what's deemed acceptable within this new evolving social contract. This isn't just about cultural trends. It's a demonstration of how deeply the spirit of lawlessness has penetrated, making us willingly participate in our own re-education. Before you can recognize the man of lawlessness in his final form, you must first recognize the spirit of lawlessness that prepares his stage. And that, my friend, is already here, shaping our digital lives, our public squares, and even our private thoughts. But how does this subtle lawlessness, this quiet dismantling of truth, directly enable the alignment protocol to usher in the mark of the beast without a single overt act of tyranny? The answer lies in how our allegiance is being redefined right now, in plain sight, and in moments, I'll show you precisely how this redefinition is already demanding a spiritual ID from you, whether you realize it or not. Whether you realize it or not. Think about it. Our society, once anchored in shared values and a common understanding of right and wrong, is now adrift on a sea of subjective truth. What was once considered a foundational moral law derived from divine principles is increasingly dismissed as mere opinion, a relic of a bygone era, perhaps even an oppressive one. This isn't just intellectual debate. It's the very essence of lawlessness at work, eroding the bedrock of our collective conscience. When truth becomes fluid, when every individual becomes their own arbiter of reality, the stage is perfectly set for a new, unifying authority to step in. And that's precisely what the alignment protocol leverages. This isn't about some shadowy figure forcing you to renounce your faith in a public square. It's far more insidious. It's about the subtle, almost imperceptible shifts in our daily lives, where convenience becomes the new virtue and conformity the unspoken currency. Consider the digital ecosystem we inhabit, your social media algorithms, your online purchasing habits, even the news feeds tailored to your preferences. Each interaction, each click, each like or share contributes to a digital profile that not only knows what you believe, but subtly nudges you toward how you should behave. This isn't just about consumer data. It's about conditioning allegiance, shaping a collective consciousness that is predisposed to accept a unified narrative, whatever that narrative may be. The spirit of lawlessness, then, isn't just a rejection of God's law. It's the eager embrace of any system that promises order, comfort, and belonging, especially when traditional structures seem to fail. And here's the crucial point. The man of lawlessness, often visualized as a dramatic, overtly evil dictator, will not emerge into a world that is resisting lawlessness. Quite the opposite. He will rise as the ultimate problem solver, the charismatic leader who brings order to the chaos created by this very spirit of lawlessness. He will offer solutions to the very divisions and anxieties that plague us, from economic instability to social unrest. He won't appear as a devil with horns, but as a beacon of hope, a unifying force. And his mark, the ultimate symbol of allegiance, will not be presented as an act of rebellion against God, but as the sensible, even necessary step for participating in a world that has finally achieved peace and prosperity. It will be framed as a civic duty, a social responsibility, perhaps even a humanitarian imperative. But before he can take center stage, before the alignment protocol can demand its final ultimate spiritual ID, we must understand the three distinct layers of control that are already operational, preparing the way. And the first, the most overlooked, is the quiet capture of our minds through the very narratives we consume daily. This isn't just about media manipulation, it's the insidious groundwork for the alignment protocol, a system so pervasive that it will demand your allegiance not through overt force, but through convenience, perceived safety, and the promise of a harmonious world. You see, the Antichrist won't arrive as a cartoon villain. He will emerge as the ultimate problem solver, a charismatic figure offering solutions to global crises, making compliance with his system, the very essence of the mark, feel like a civic duty, a humanitarian imperative. This is the forbidden reason so many will miss it. They are looking for a physical brand when the true mark is a spiritual ID, an integration of heart, mind, and action into a global system that rejects Christ. The choice then is stark: eternal inheritance and ultimate freedom, or a transient peace bought with your soul. If you've stayed with me this far, you are part of a community unwilling to be deceived. Click on the next episode, because there